Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'd like to start with playing a little something for you. So that's welcome to my recital tonight. I wish I could see all of your lovely faces here, and play for you live. But from the comforts of my home, I decided to record the whole recital for you to ensure that the quality of the video is good. It is a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to play for you. I am looking forward to sharing my music with you, and during these times, it's been really rewarding to be able to be a part of this festival. So thank you, Sandy, for having me, and as always, and it's been really a great experience working with all the students of the festival, from the technology classes to the brass classes. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I just played, and if you recognize it, it's probably that you watch CBS Sunday Morning, but it's actually the Reiche Fanfare called Abblasen, and Reiche was a Baroque era trumpet player that was actually Bach's Baroque trumpet player. He was Bach's guy, and a lot of those really difficult Bach trumpet parts were written for him. And this fanfare was actually lifted off of a painting by Hausmann in, I think, 1727, and it's not really certain whether or not Reiche wrote it or if Bach wrote it for Reiche. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. The next piece I'm going to play for you tonight is Honegger's Intrada. I figured I'd do another introduction piece for you. It's a very popular piece of music written in 1947. Honegger was a member of Les Six, like with Milhaud and with Poulenc. He was greatly influenced more by romanticism of Wagner and Strauss, other than the French composers like Poulenc and Milhaud. So it's interesting that it's a little bit meatier trumpet playing here, so than a lot of other French music, although it does have the joy of French music. So you'll hear the different things here. Unfortunately, I didn't have a live pianist to play with, so I am using an online accompaniment, and it's a little bit more difficult to line up with the piano, but I hope you can forgive me for that. But this is one of my favorite pieces to play. It was on my audition for the Philadelphia Orchestra. It's one of the first pieces I played on one of my first recitals ever. So please enjoy Honegger's Intrada. Hi, everybody. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. I wish there was somebody else that was here that could make sure I can see that somebody can hear me. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me all right. Um, okay, so that was the Honegger's Intrada. The next piece I'd like to play for you in the program, which I've recorded, is the suite by William Presser called "It's a Suite for Trumpet." It was written in or published in 1972. He's an American composer who was ironically a violinist, and he wrote a lot for woodwinds and brass. This is the first time I've ever played the piece. This is the first time I worked on it during this crisis. I've had a lot more time because I'm not playing concerts in Verizon Hall. So I'm lucky that I've been able to work on some new repertoire, and this is one of the new pieces. This is the first time I've ever performed it. And I want to share it with you. It's a 3-movement piece. It's around 8 minutes long, and it has a lot of different moods in it. I hope you enjoy it. It's a solo trumpet by it's a suite for solo trumpet by William Presser. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm going to make sure, yeah, good. I'm not muted anymore. Great. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed working on it. It was one of those pieces that I thought I could play it live, but in this room it'd be too small, and I wanted to make sure I was in a bigger space, and I didn't want to do it over Wi-Fi with too many unknowns. So anyway, I really enjoyed playing that for you. I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm sure I'll be playing that again in the future. So on to the next piece. And remember, if there's any questions that you might have for me, I'm happy to do a question and answer at the end and answer questions that you might have in the chat. So please feel free to let them fly. Okay, so next on the program for me is a new piece also. It's a piece I've been working on and off over the last year, and just keep putting it in my repertoire because I heard my colleague Dave Bilger play it, and I really enjoyed the piece. And so I wanted to work on it myself. He inspires me to practice, so whenever I hear him play, it's really great. Same thing with Jeffrey Kernall. Hopefully you're checking his stuff out online too. It's really great to play with these colleagues, which I miss very much. And hopefully we will be back soon on stage together. The next piece is by J.G. Pennequin. And like William Presser, Pennequin was a violinist and a composer, not a brass player. He wrote this piece, Morceau de Concert, in 1907 for the Paris Conservatoire as a contest piece. And as most of the Paris Conservatory contest pieces, there's a lot of challenging little moments for the trumpet to test the trumpet students there. So this might have been, you know, a recital or jury piece for the students there. Like most of the French repertoire, incorporates lots of lyrical melodies, some fanfare-ish melodies, and some nice, challenging little trumpet ditties. So once again, I've prepared this piece for you with an online accompaniment. So I hope you enjoy, and let me share the screen with you. Okay. I've grown to really like that piece. It's really kind of a cute little piece, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Um, Hopefully, I'll get to once again get a chance to play that live with a real pianist someday. I now want to move on to something special for me because I don't know if many of you saw, but I got engaged very publicly on stage this past February, and I am now quarantined, if you will, or at least stay at home with my fiance Julia Lee, and she is a violinist in the Philadelphia Orchestra, and so we've done a little bit of collaborating since this whole thing began. It's hard to find just trumpet and violin music, but luckily enough, Julia was patient enough to play some trumpet duets with me that were our transcriptions of Bach inventions. So right now, we are going to perform for you two Bach inventions. I believe. I don't remember which one. I think we've recorded 4 of them, and I don't remember which 2, but it'll say on the banner. So anyway, please enjoy. Julia Lee and I are playing a couple of Bach inventions for you. They were transcribed by a friend, Ron Ochoa, who is also a composer and trumpet player. So here we go. I'm going to share this with you now. Okay. And that's why they call them our better half, because she is definitely a pleasure to play with, and isn't that really great? I mean, I'm so lucky to have her here, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff if she can deal with my, deal with me. Anyway, we had a great time performing those for you, and I hope you enjoyed them. Next on the program will be I'm completing the program with the Hummel Trumpet Concerto. I hope most of you may have heard this piece before. I'll give you a little background about the piece. It was written by Hummel in 1803 for Anton Weidinger, who created an instrument from a natural trumpet by and putting keys on it, like a saxophone or like a clarinet or something. Like it had keys that that allowed attenuation of notes to make chromatic notes on the instrument. The Haydn Trumpet Concerto was also written for this man. And I think that when Hummel took over for Haydn and at the, I believe it was the Esterhazy estate, I'm sure that Weidinger was like, I got another sucker. I can get him to write me a concerto for this thing too. The instrument doesn't sound all that great, and not much other music was written for it, at least that I know of. So the music disappeared for a long time and was rediscovered kind of in the mid 20th century, one of those centuries. Anyway, so the piece itself, I believe, was one of my, actually was probably the first concerto that I learned when I was in late high school. I used it for audition pieces as an audition piece for my undergrad. And have grown to love the piece over the years. I still love it. I think it's great. And I was able to dust it off in the last couple of weeks to prepare for this recital, and hopefully share it with you here as the last piece in the program. It is also with piano accompaniment, so please forgive me for that. But that's what I had to deal with. It's been a really great pleasure to play for you. And if you stick around till the end of the Hummel, there might be a little taste of something else afterwards. And we can do some Q&A. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and we can talk, and we can and be like, phew. But this has been a really great pleasure to perform for you. So please enjoy the Hummel Trumpet Concerto. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was my final performance for you tonight. I really enjoyed being here. I really enjoyed making these videos for you, and it actually whipped me into shape to make sure that I was ready to play this recital for you. So really great to do it. Would you like to hear one more? I don't know. There's nobody I can see. But if anybody knows me, it's the holiday weekend, and I really wanted to make something special for this recital to end a little bit of a encore, if you will. If anybody knows me on Instagram or Facebook, on social media, I've been making orchestral section videos for the last month or so, and so it's become kind of my thing. And I've really been enjoying doing it. So I made a special one. It's not an orchestral excerpt video, but it's a video in that same vein. But it's for the holiday weekend, a little special thing. The same arranger of the Bach Inventions made this wonderful arrangement for me in a couple of days. And I just asked him if he could do it. And so here's my little gift to you for the holiday weekend. I hope you enjoyed that.
Bravo, Tony. Bravo. Very beautiful. That was a wonderful. Bravo, Tony. Bravo. That was such a wonderful recital. Thank you so much for presenting it for us.
That was my pleasure.
Tony, that was amazing. That was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. And what a wonderful encore performance at the end. What a surprise. And thank you so much. The whole thing was brilliant.
Thank you very much. It was really a pleasure. It was a pleasure to play for everybody. And I'm happy to indulge anybody in any question or response.
Of course, Tony, I'm more than happy to practice, but do we need to invite someone else into the room?
I guess I don't think she's prepared to come into the room, but
okay.
But you can give her
clap for Julia. You guys did a beautiful performance this evening.
Bravo, Julia. That was amazing.
Thanks.
It's definitely great having her here. So, well, it was really a pleasure to do this for you guys. So, and I'm always really happy to be a part of the festival. So, I'm glad it was successful under the circumstances, and I know that the students, my interaction with the students was great. Different than being in person, but great nonetheless. So,
Next best thing.
That's wonderful. For those of you who don't know me here in this evening, my name is Sal. I am the Director of Private Lessons and Faculty Coordinator here at the festival. It is my pleasure every year to work with the individuals of the Philadelphia Orchestra, such as Tony, Kim Fisher, our Artistic Director, and logistically coordinating all these. So thank you, Tony, again, for a wonderful recital. We got some really great questions if you have a few minutes of time to stick around and answer them.
Sure.
One of the first ones off the bat, do you have any books for aspiring musicians who want to go into the professional realm?
Books. I guess be more specific.
I think maybe more along the pedagogical term, what they can use to further their studies to get them to that next step, maybe going into a like a music school or a music conservatory.
You mean trumpet related or yeah?
I think we can go either way.
I don't know. It's probably more about maybe recordings and listening to music and being immersed in the music. I'm not much. I read. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I can name a single book that would be along those lines. Other than if you're a trumpet player, then you know the only two books you really need, in my opinion, in the beginning of your trumpet career is the Arbin book and the Clark studies. So you know, for aspiring trumpet players, and just listening to great music and hearing a great sound, you know, being inspired just to play by listening to live music, going to see live music when you can. When we're able, but listening as much as you can, asking questions to your teachers and your idols. I mean, like right now, everybody's accessible on social media. I didn't have that, so whenever I went to a concert when I was young, I had to go to these concerts and ask these people questions. I'd be like, "But Herseth, what did you do? What do you do?" And blah blah blah, you know. Or like Doc Severinsen came and I was just like, "Oh, it's so great, Doc's here," you know. And I was just like following him around like a little puppy dog. So you know, just ask questions to people that you meet and the people that you hear, people that you want to emulate, imitate, and all that. Listen to great recordings and get inspired just to play and practice. Other than that, I'm not really that. I mean, I don't have a wide literature selection for you to.
Yeah, I think it was definitely more towards on the trumpet realm. But I liked how you were talking about inspiration, because the next question I wrote down was who or what inspired you to play the trumpet? You kind of got the who in there. Maybe if you want to talk a little bit more, definitely at the what.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, I had a great band director. His name was Ross Kellen, and he was, and a couple others too. Stephen Hoffman and Greg Cunningham were all in school with me, and they were just very inspirational teachers. They were very good musicians. Ross Kellen's father played in the WGN Orchestra in Chicago, and his brother played in, I think, Winnipeg Symphony or one of the Canadian symphonies. But you know, just amazing influences around me, and I just wanted to be in music. So I was a music ed major for a couple of years at the University of Illinois, until Reiche Sasaki, my teacher, said, "Hey, you know, you might have what it takes to play trumpet for a living, so you might want to give it a shot." Because I was practicing all the time, and I would come into lessons, I'd be so tired, and he'd be like, "What have you been doing?" I said, "Well, I was doing my homework for conducting, and I was doing my practicing for trumpet." And he's like, "Well, maybe you should pick one." You know, and so I guess if he encouraged me to be a conductor, I would have been maybe a better conductor. And I guess since he encouraged me to play trumpet, I just went, you know, full steam ahead with trumpet, and that's what brought me here today. So I guess Reiche Sasaki was a big influence on me being a trumpet player in general. My teacher Paul Markello was also a big influence, because I'd hear him playing orchestral excerpts, and that made me go, "Oh, I've never done those before." And I thought, oh, you know, maybe I should try this, because that seems like a lot of fun. So anyway, but those were some of my early influences. As far as trumpet players in the beginning, it was like listening to the Count Basie Orchestra and the Ellington Band, listening to Doc Severinsen and Maynard Ferguson. So it was really a jazz influence. All those Wynton Marsalis recordings, especially the Standard Time albums and things like that in the beginning, were huge influences on me. I wanted to be a jazz trumpet player, but I was steered in a different direction, and here I am. Now you don't want to pay or or not pay to hear me play jazz.
No, we definitely do. We're grateful that you were steered towards performing. Speaking of performing, do you have any favorite composers that you are gravitated towards, or like you just, I want to whip this piece out by so-and-so just to make me feel good today, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's licks from a lot of different pieces. Bartok, Shostakovich, Mahler.
So it sounds like you like the older or the later composers.
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit more partial towards the 20th century. Although I do like, I mean, Richard Strauss, went into the 20th century also. So like Mahler also, the turn of century composers. I like
They're all
listening.
great.
I like listening to Schoenberg. I like all that stuff too. Yeah, I would probably lean towards that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love these questions because they flow right into each other. So like, do you have a favorite 20th or 21st century piece for trumpet that you like performing a lot?
Something's happening to your sound. Yeah, I guess in school I got really drawn towards the Tomasi Concerto, and I played it for a lot of competitions. I really enjoyed playing that piece. Same thing with the Honegger. There's something about it that's fun for me, challenging in a lot of different ways. It's it got the angular thing going, and then it's got the the melodic dancing thing, and you go back and forth, and it's got also the energy and the strength that you need. And there's a lot of different moods, if you will, in the piece. Also, I do like I love listening to old time, like Rafael Mendez and Dachschitzer and some of these older trumpet players play some of those showpieces that were kind of like violin showpieces, but were played for that played on trumpet. And someday I'll learn how to play those. And maybe this is a better time than any. So after doing this recital, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should have like worked up some Rafael Mendez or some cornet solo. So I think I'm going to revisit a little bit of that coming up.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Do you are you a musician who likes to listen to stuff outside of classical and trumpet literature? And do you like any specific genres?
Oh yeah, I really enjoy 80s hairband music.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't like a little Motley Crue every once in a while? I don't know. Poison. Every rose has its thorn. I think I also like I like to listen to Blood, Sweat and Tears, old Chicago recordings. Chicago the band and Chicago Symphony. I'm from Chicago, if you haven't been able to tell from a little bit of my accent. I haven't lost it all yet, I don't think. But yeah, I really, if my go-to would be probably more of that, the 70s kind of, it has, like the wind, the brass section, rock and roll kind of stuff, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Chicago, Tower of Power, kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
Wonderful. How do you, is there a process you go through when it comes to exploring new pieces to perform, or do you have a list that you haven't tackled some pieces yet?
Trumpet solo pieces?
Yeah.
Actually, the arrangement of America was done by Ron Ochoa. He actually wrote a piece for Dave Bilger called Stills, I think, in Black and White. I forget the name of the piece. I just have it on my stand usually, but now it's all this recital stuff.
Yeah.
But I might revisit that because it's really challenging, and once again, it's one of those things where I heard Dave play it and I'm like, oh man, I want to learn to do that, and play those kind of things. There's a couple of concerti that I haven't done that or performed with an orchestra or anything like that, like maybe the Jolivet Concertino or maybe the Des Enclos, that maybe someday. It's easy to think about doing these things when I'm not playing second trumpet in the orchestra. But when I'm playing second trumpet, it gets to be a pretty hectic schedule, and I play a lot. So if you're doing 4 concerts a week, sometimes maybe 5, sometimes it's hard to switch gears and play these big pieces when I'm playing a lot of pieces on the program. So it's a very big shift in what I have to do trumpet wise. So I'm glad to get to revisit some of this stuff now, and hopefully I can keep it in my repertoire when we go back to work.
Right, great. I think I just had 2 more questions of your time, if that's okay.
That's fine, as much time as you need.
I noticed at the very beginning of this recital, I have seen so many comments about your articulation and your tone. Do you have any specific studies that you do that you work on that, or do you suggest any things to listen or watch for musicians out there if they want to work on those qualities in their practicing?
Yes, I think if first of all, it's really about having the concept and hearing it in other people's playing. Just to know what you're looking for sound-wise. I think a lot of people talk about articulation as being a tongue thing, and a lot of the problems that I hear a lot of people having, that's not so much of a tongue thing, it's more of an air thing and the immediacy of the air and response. A lot of people expect the notes to start with the tongue, but actually it's the air that starts the notes. It's just the tongue that's going to articulate that airstream. It's like the bow on the string. If the bow isn't moving, there's no sound. Once that bow starts to move, well, then, sound starts. But if the bow is just sitting on the string when that happens, we get a little bit of a crunch before it. It's the same thing kind of on the trumpet. If the air's not moving before the tongue hits, if the air's not, and the tongue's not together, it creates kind of an unwanted articulation, if you will. So same thing on the violin. If you don't get that that stroke right, it's like, you hit the string at the wrong time, or bounces on the string or whatever. You get those unwanted articulations. It's the same thing with our lip. If our lip is the string and our air is our bow, we just need to make sure that those things are immediate. You can think about a lot of things articulation-wise without playing the trumpet. I articulate very similarly to the way I speak. So if I say ta 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 or t t t t t t t t t, that's the way I'm going for. That's what I'm going to go for on the trumpet to get that same kind of sound. So it's a good check for you if you can articulate with your voice or with words. To make those sounds with your voice, to try to imitate exactly what you did with your voice when you play. And if you can't do that, maybe you explore a different tongue position. As far as exercise is concerned, I really like to use the Gecker book and the Goldman studies, and I like to play them slurred and then tongued, and also go the opposite direction, work just from getting the tip of the tongue, just to play some really short articulations, like. Just to use the tip of the tongue to make little pops, and then go at it from the opposite direction and only use your air, and then build them up together so that we have like a really solid articulation with sound behind it. And that's the thing. There's got to be sound behind. There's got to be air behind the tongue. If there's not air behind the tongue, you get right, and we don't want that. So I hope that helps.
Exactly. As a flute player, and I'm a woodwind, you're a brass. That's exactly what every one of my teachers has said about intonation and articulation. It's never about your tongue. It's all about your air and your embouchure.
Yeah, usually people blame it on the tongue, but it's usually what the tongue's doing to the airstream or what the air's not doing behind the tongue. Yeah.
Right. And Tony, I think you're in my head tonight because you must know how I'm going to segue to your next question. So I wanted to end with a really fun question tonight. Everyone's been noticing, bottom to your left, all of your babies, all of your trumpets. How many trumpets do you have?
Okay, yeah, you see all the cases, you see all the trumpets.
Yeah, all the cases and trumpets. What do we got going on here?
So, well, this is the stuff that I've been using lately. So there's a lot of stuff in those cases. I have about 25 trumpets. So right here is my Yamaha Gen 2 B flat, my Yamaha C trumpet, my other Yamaha C trumpet, which is a Gen 3 New York. I have a Bach B flat cornet here, which I never get to play. I've never played it before, so I'm actually just learning some stuff on it and just kind of exploring it. I just got it recently and trying it out. This is my E flat trumpet over here. I have a couple of those. I have a piccolo trumpet there, a C cornet, my Yamaha C cornet, my Yamaha piccolo trumpet. I have my rotary trumpet over there on the case. which I have some recording projects coming up. I'm going to try to do some Bruckner.
Can I impose upon you to show us that? Because I've never seen a rotary trumpet up close before.
Sure.
And I know that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they give a more mellow sound.
Yeah, it's a slightly different sound than the piston horn. Oh, my valves are a little stuck on this one because I haven't played it in a few days. Yeah, it's a slightly mellower sound. We use it. It matches the horns a little bit better, especially on big chorales, horns and trombones, things like Schumann and even in Bruckner and so on. We use it for a lot of the Germanic repertoire from Haydn, Mozart to Mendelssohn, Schumann, Schubert, Beethoven, Brahms, Bruckner, so on. Some orchestras use it for Mahler and for Strauss, but we haven't gotten there because we just haven't gotten there yet. But maybe someday. But yeah, it's a different sounding instrument. The valves are like a French horn, rotary valves like a French horn, and this is what they play in most Germanic countries in that part of Europe. So. So it has a little bit different response and stuff when you compare it to. Sorry, full of water.
Definitely.
So you can tell the difference is a. I don't know if you can hear it on Zoom, but
I can hear it on my end, definitely.
Slightly mellower sound.
Yeah. Well, Tony, thank you so much for this recital this evening. It was a beautiful performance. I'm very glad I also got to see Julia during it. It's so warming when I get to see my friends from the Philadelphia Orchestra play.
Thank you very much, everybody.